The Oklahoma State Cowboys are in trouble. You got trouble right here in Stillwater because Oklahoma State has 3 quarterbacks, but Oklahoma State has 0 quarterbacks, if you know what I'm saying. Garrett Rangel, I don't hate him. Gunnar Gundy, I think might be the best of the bunch. He's the one that I'll get and I think, all right, if your last name wasn't Gundy, I bet Mike could let you play a little bit more if there wasn't this conversation of possible nepotism. And there's Alan Bowman, who was brought into Michigan to serve as a, people use this cliche all the time, this player is a coach on the field. Alan Bowman's a coach on the sidelines. He was at Michigan for 2 years and didn't play a meaningful snap. He was only there to coach up the young. This was like a, hey, here's this guy who's played a lot of college football. We'll bring him in. Smart kid, nice guy. Boom, we'll let him play. When I heard he was on a visit to Waco, when I heard he's on a visit to Baylor, it's like, oh, no. Oh, no. If Baylor's considering bringing this guy in to compete for the starting job, we got trouble in Waco. And then you brought him into Oklahoma State to try to turn things around, and you got a kid that hasn't played college football meaningfully in 2 years, and he has not impressed me whatsoever. QBR of 60.2. Garrett Rangel, I am... It's like he gets to the fourth quarter, and it's a close game against Arizona State, and I watched the entire thing because I watched a little bit of the game last week against UCA and thought, oh, what a dud. It won't happen again next week. And then this Arizona State game was so frustrating to me because you roll out 3 quarterbacks, and it's like the standard now is that these 3 quarterbacks are going to play. Maybe you disagree on the Gunnar Gundy take. Maybe you disagree. I get that his stats are not as good as Garrett Rangel. I get if you look at just the box score, Alan Bowman and Garrett Rangel have better stats. But to me, when I watched the football game, I thought, the one guy who seems to have the best grip on this whole thing is Gunnar Gundy. And I really do believe because of his last name, that's why he's not playing. I hope it's not the case, but also Mike Gundy has that old school guy style of, there's no nepotism in this program. I like what I saw from him. And at some point in time, you cannot keep platooning quarterbacks. You can't have it's not a 3-headed monster. It's like a 3-headed shih tzu at quarterback right now for Oklahoma State. Like, which one's playing poorly? Let's bring in another one to play the exact same. All 3 of them are equally unimpressive right now. And that's the big problem for Oklahoma State. In what world, please riddle me this, is Ollie Gordon getting 9 carries? His 9 carries, 53 yards and a touchdown, should be 18 carries, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I don't understand. If you've got 3 quarterbacks who can't get the job done, Mike Gundy, you've been there for so long, my brother. You've seen so many football players play. Is this not obvious at this point that we would take our 3 handicapped quarterbacks and take the ball out of their hands, yet snap it to them, and then once it reaches their hands, give it to Ollie Gordon? Give it to Jaden Nixon. Give it to Elijah Collins. I don't have any issues with the Oklahoma State defense. Obviously, Jaden Rashada is a good quarterback. I'll give you that. He is a freshman who made a lot of freshman throws, a lot of freshman mistakes. But I don't think Arizona State has just a terrible, god-awful offense and that Oklahoma State's defense only played well because Arizona State's that bad. No, my problem was certainly not the Oklahoma State defense in this game. Instead, it was the offense and the lack of consistency with the fact that Mike Gundy will not name a starting quarterback. You can't do this. In high school, there are 3 or 4 weeks of non-conference play. You get in a district or conference play, and then you're playing for the playoffs. You get an effective 2 scrimmages preseason and then 3 or 4 games that just don't matter on your schedule. Those you can kind of platoon quarterbacks, play one kid, play another, see who fits. In college football, every game matters for your odds at a postseason bid. And it doesn't feel like Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State have that kind of mentality about this. It's like, hey, Power 5 opponent, we're still trying to figure this out. You beat a future Big 12 team. You beat a Power 5 opponent on the road. I give you credit for that. But if you watch this game, Oklahoma State fans saw the offense and thought, wow, I'm so glad we only gave Ollie Gordon the ball 9 times. That's a perfect amount of times we should give Ollie Gordon the ball. I wish we would have thrown it more with Alan Bowman or Garrett Rangel or Gunnar Gundy. If those were your thoughts, you're a madman. 22 for 32 is not good. Just average-ish. 191 yards through the air and a couple of touchdowns. 113 yards on the ground. Oklahoma State barely broke 300 yards of total offense against the Arizona State Sun Devils, a team that I feel is very, very inferior to what Oklahoma State puts out there. One of the worst teams in the Pac-12. They beat Southern Utah by 3. And Oklahoma State just didn't look good. I put a lot of money on them on FanDuel, that I really wanted the offense to click. I wanted to see, all right, the UCA game, you got it out of the way. You beat the Bears in the end. What does this week look like for Oklahoma State? I can't really call you a loser, but I need Mike Gundy to figure out the quarterback situation. If you're a fan of another team listening right now, going, all right, this is a good rundown of Oklahoma State. Don't be scared of Oklahoma State. Right now, with the way things are going in Stillwater, don't be scared of Oklahoma State. They've got to figure out the quarterback situation. They got to give Ollie Gordon the ball more. His offense is lackluster at best, and I'm frustrated because I feel like the pieces are there. I do feel like the pieces are there. I just don't know what Mike Gundy is doing. I'm Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.